Okay, this is my second rendition of Storyteller. Remember, I am a storyteller. And let me tell you where my story begins. My story begins in 1941 in Roanoke, Virginia. I was born in total segregation. White folks were mean in 1941. But 1941 caused 1960. I was raised a very Southern Baptist type, but the Klan roamed freely. They burned crosses. I walked past a church, 10 years old, and a white lady sicked her German Shepherd on me, 10 years old. White kids would ride by and hit you in the back with sticks. But I was fortunate because the old soldiers from Korea came home and taught us to fight. We learned to box. We learned what little martial arts they knew. We learned to fight. Now, my strength came from the foundation of mean, crazy white folks. So by the time I was 18, in fact, en route to becoming 18, I was working in a church with an old man who tried to sexually assault me. Now, I couldn't tell my mom, my dad, my brothers, my sisters, because anyway, it would have gotten back to my father. So I politely said, you can keep the money. You don't even have to pay me. But I'm going to go in the Marine Corps when I get 18. I'm going to come back and I'm going to kick your butt. Unfortunately, he died before I didn't go into the Marine Corps. I went into the Air Force. The Air Force had education. But when I got into the Air Force, I began to hear the lies. Now, the Bible had enough lies for me, but the Air Force had more. In 1956, Gary Powers flew the U-2 over Russia. And they told us it was a big accident. Well, once I started trying to get my top secret clearance, they told me they prepackaged the news 6 months before Gary Powers flew over Russia. That was kind of like the lies I heard when I read the stories of Moses and all that stuff in the Bible. So the lies continued. I went into the military hoping to become a police officer. I became a police officer, a pretty good athlete. So I was always in condition. I always ran, always kept in shape because my history was how do you escape the Ku Klux Klan? In the military, I learned guerrilla tactics. What I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse on you. And when I reverse on you, I'm going to take out the guys behind you. And I'm going to take out a few more because my dad always taught me, since there's more white folks than black folks, you need to take out a couple of extras just to even things up. So that was my mentality. So I went through the military, became a police officer. And as I became a police officer, my commitment was to serve my community for 5 years as I served this country in the military. Problem was, I was seeing the same thing I saw in the military. In the military, I don't care how good you were, black folks didn't get promoted. Now I'm a police officer and they're telling me stories about lowering standards for minority officers. And I'm finding that, first of all, the average black that I knew in the police department had 2 years of college. The average white had 11 years of education. There were only 82 of us out of a total of 1,800 police officers. Police officers carried saps, illegal, throw-down weapons, illegal, blackjacks, illegal, alley rounds, illegal. They shot black folks. One black kid was shot supposedly because he stole a car and it turned out to be his uncle's car. I told people in the 60s that eventually, and this is based on my experience going to California Youth Authority in San Quentin, I told people in the 60s, one day, the cities are going to have to pay for the number of illegals we put in jail. Well, now they're paying millions. Now, the interesting thing for me was, like I said, I'm a storyteller, so I wrote about it in a book called Black and Blue. Of course, I revised it to an ethnic profile, showing my experience from the Air Force to the San Francisco Police Department. One thing I do as a storyteller, I tell you the truth. That is what my parents taught me. That's what my elders, my ancestors taught me. The truth is valuable. I've heard a lot of lies in my life. Some people want me to be a Republican. Some people want me to be a Democrat. Well, I was both. And I saw a lot of lies. When you begin to lie to me, I begin to move on. That's what a good storyteller does. And I consider myself a good storyteller. I read, I write, I report. I am a storyteller.